so the brief we were given was to talk about research insights from Scotland, and that's because of work that we've been doing in a collaborative group called Murray House Read Write Count. So I'm going to start us off by introducing that group and what the kind of work that we do, and then we're going to hear from Alison and then Elspeth, and then we'll come back and I'll talk a wee bit about some of the research that has come from that group. So Murray House Read Write Count is a collaborative partnership between City of Edinburgh, or colleagues working in the City of Edinburgh, Scottish Book Trust and Murray House School of Education and Sport. It's really informal. It's an informal network that was, I've said there, it was set up in 2016, which implies almost that there was some kind of constitution or something. It wasn't. It was really just people getting together who had shared interests and shared priorities, thinking about how we might work together to advance the agenda that we share. And the conclusion we came to, and again, it sounds like a mission statement, but it's not, because we don't have a mission statement, because we don't have a constitution or anything, is that we were keen to develop activities which encourage a family learning approach to promoting parental engagement. And we're going to do that through using the Scottish Book Trust Read Write Count book bags. So quite a lot of the stuff that Sandra was talking about this morning, I think, was about parental engagement. And we're more specifically, we're very interested in parental engagement, but very interested in how family learning approaches can be used to facilitate that. So the collaborative group's been going for about 7 years. It's not in anybody's workload. There's no kind of written agreement about anything. We sometimes take minutes, don't we? So occasionally. Sorry, Barry's sitting next to me here. I think, the fact that it's been going for 7 years shows that it's sustainable. And it's a really good model, I would say, of partnership working across university and local authority and third sector organisations. One of the outcomes of the sustainable partnership working is user-informed research, by which I mean research that we're doing as academic researchers, which is addressing questions which practitioners are coming to us with, things they want to know about their practice. And some of that research has led to peer-reviewed publications, and that's what I'll be talking about later in my bit of the presentation. So just before I pass over to Alison and Elspeth, I just wanted to say a bit about how the group started. So in about 2016, the head of School of Education, as it was at the time, it's now Education and Sport, was Professor Ruina Arshad, asked me to take a lead in the school on thinking about how we, as a School of Education, might support people working locally to close the poverty-related attainment gap. And I know that was something the Cabinet Secretary was talking about this morning as well, the importance of parental engagement, family learning for that agenda. And in informal conversations with the local authority, they identified for us that actually parental engagement and family learning might be an area that could benefit from that kind of partnership. And that led me to think about what are we doing in Murray House at that time in terms of supporting pre-qualification teachers in relation to initial teacher education, and identifying that we weren't actually doing very much at all at that stage, either in relation to parental involvement, parental engagement, family learning, or learning at home. Now, it's important to say that another part of Murray House, the community development, community learning and development team, has a long, decades-long track record of working in the area of community development. But for some reason, that had never quite matched up with the initial teacher education. And in fact, some of the research I'll be presenting on later was carried out by myself with Professor Lynn Tett, who is an expert in adult literacy and family learning and things like that. So I'm sure a lot of you here will be familiar with Lynn's work. So we have, I think, begun to make those kind of connections a wee bit stronger at Murray House. But the basic remit of the group that we decided for ourselves was that anything that we do should benefit every member of that group. So that's Scottish Book Trust, City of Edinburgh Council, Murray House staff and students. And that anything that we did was going to be using the Read Write Count resources to support parental engagement and family learning. So the group members, Murray House School of Education and Sport, that's mainly me and Lynn, and also our students on our ITE programmes. From City of Edinburgh, we've been joined by community learning and development specialists, school psychological services, QIOs, library people, library staff and directors. So what is Cleo's job? She's a director of something.
Library development.
Library development. Anyway, the job titles keep changing, right? But it's people from these different areas. And then from the Scottish Book Trust, it's the Read Write Count team. It was a lovely little organically developing group that's drawing on expertise from lots of different areas which have a shared interest in family learning, parental engagement, closing the poverty gap and initial teacher education. So the focus this afternoon is Alison and Elspeth are going to talk about their experiences of being involved in some of the projects the Murray House Read Write Count group have done. I'll then talk about some of the research, and then Vary's here to kind of represent the wider Murray House Read Write Count group, and she's going to talk a bit about the importance of family learning and her experience of being part of the group.